Breaking news now on Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Well, now at 6, a firefighter ATV crashed near the site of a brush fire in Berlin. Good evening, and thanks for joining us for the Fox 61 News at 6. I'm Brent Harden.
And I'm Bridget Piorlo. This happened as crews are working to get those flames under control on the Lamentation Mountain. Let's get right out to Fox 61's Kay Pattyfoot. She's been out there for a couple of hours now. Kay, what are you hearing and what are you seeing out there?
Bridget and Brent, the Berlin fire chief said it was a Wethersfield ATV that was involved in that accident. Injuries have been reported, but we do not know to what extent. Now, we know help from Maine is coming and air support can be expected. We're going to zoom in so you guys can see just how thick this smoke is. It's almost like a layer is right on top of the trees. And we do know that it smells just like a smoky barbecue kind of thing as well. Now, firefighters will be out here working around the clock to get out these flames, just making sure everyone is safe. In Berlin, Kay Pattyfoot, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Thank you, Kay. And this fire in Berlin has been a big challenge for fire crews.
Today, they had to deal with unseasonably hot temperatures and tough terrain. We broke a record this week as well. Fox 61's Matt Karen brings us an update on how the work is going so far. Matt.
As day turns to night, once again, passerbys here along the Berlin Turnpike will be able to see an orange glow through the haze as these flames are far from being extinguished.
That stuff doesn't happen around here, so it was weird. It's weird.
It's crazy. We've never had a wildfire like this before.
One by one, people pulled off the busy Berlin Turnpike Tuesday to take pictures of the wildfire that continued to tear up the terrain.
It's a heavy rock. There's a lot of shale, a lot of cliffs, a lot of 90-degree kind of sheer drops.
Chief Jeff Pajor told Fox 61 the terrain is just one of the many reasons why the wildfire is tough to tackle. Crews are also dealing with wind at higher altitude and exhaustion.
But they're putting some safety things in place for escape routes. If there was a problem, the fire, got more aggressive.
Crews haven't put much water on the fire, attacking it from the edges in the hopes of creating a perimeter and having it burn itself out from the middle. So far, the inferno has incinerated about 30 acres of mountain vegetation.
I'd be packing up my kids and leaving.
No evacuations have been necessary. In fact, the flames may not be as concerning as the smokestack that's drifting south.
Smoke inhalation. I smelt it on my way up here. I'm 15 minutes away, not even, and I was able to smell it.
Some of the smoke is traveling south, is traveling towards Meriden, Wallingford area. Somebody did say we had a report that there might have been a daycare that needed to close.
A no-fly zone remains in place for the next 3 days. Clearing the sky for first responders to take flight to plan their attack from above.
Yeah, Freddie, I'm worried about these hot spots up here.
What do we have?
Right here.
In the bottom?
Yeah.
There was a guy playing a drone, and he was able to get some really good pictures of the flames. They were pretty high. Lots of smoke.
Nearly a dozen municipal departments are rotating crews trying to keep manpower fresh with assistance from state forestry experts. They'll be here a while.
Probably through the weekend, yeah.
The chief told me their next step may be to do an air dump of water. As for what started this fire, we may never know. It could have been a hiker, may have been something else. But the ground is dry. We certainly haven't had a lot of rain. And tomorrow the wind is expected to pick up. Reporting in Berlin, Matt Karen, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
All right, Matt, thank you. The Department of Energy and Environmental Protection says the forest fire danger level is still very high in all Connecticut counties today. There have been several brush fires reported over the past few days in different towns and cities. Fox 61's Angelo Bavaro joins us with the latest on the risk.
We've been dealing with the perfect mix of low humidity, breezy winds, and dry conditions, which has been fueling these brush fires. We're in desperate need of rain, and fire officials say it needs to be a good soaking rain. Now, here's a look at some other brush fires that have popped up in the last few days. One of those happened in the woods at Cedar Hill Cemetery in Hartford yesterday. Crews in Burlington have had to deal with 2 fires, one yesterday and one over the weekend, and another fire also happened yesterday yesterday in Vernon, covering about 9 acres in the northeast section of town. Fire officials say the majority of those wildfires in Connecticut are caused by careless actions from people, whether it's a discarded cigarette, campfires, or outdoor burnings.
The best prevention is not to have any fires in the first place. But if you are going to have a campfire, be prepared. Have a water source nearby, whether that's a tank or your hose. But the other thing is to call 911 early. People are very surprised on how quickly even just a little grass fire in your backyard can get out of hand.
Another issue when things get out of hand, crews say it can get labor intensive when those fires get large. In those cases, numerous fire departments are needed to get things under control. Now, in most cases, those brush fires burn about a ½ acre to an acre and are able to be handled by local fire departments quickly. I'll send things back to you.
All right, Angela, thank you. Yeah, we know the soil very dry. Wind has been a big factor. How is the weather impacting all these fires?
Yeah, Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frayne joining us with some answers. Rachel, what about the wind? We know it's been hot and it's been dry for quite a while.
Yeah, the wind hasn't been an issue today, but unfortunately it will become more of an issue as we head through the day tomorrow. Not that it will be damaging, but you know that any wind can only help to fan the flames. And notice as we head through the midday and afternoon tomorrow, those wind gusts can get up to 25, maybe even 30 miles an hour. So for that reason, the combination of the dry air in place, the warmth in place, the sunshine and the gusty winds, a red flag warning is in effect for the day tomorrow from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. And the National Weather Service does this just to warn people that any outdoor fires can quickly catch and spread. No outdoor burning and properly disposing of any smoking materials. What you're looking at here is a map of where a lot of that surface smoke is right now from those fires in Berlin. And notice they've been spreading north into areas like Bloomfield and Hartford even today. Simsbury might even smell like a campfire and will until we can get that fire back under control. Today we ended up seeing near record warmth in the Hartford area, 1 degree shy of 85. That is awfully warm. And for Bridgeport, tying the daily record high temperature of 77 degrees. And it's still toasty out there right now with 70s for most of the state, though 60s for a few at the shoreline. Overnight tonight, temperatures will be sliding back into the 50s. There could be areas of patchy fog, and we have one more day in the warmth tomorrow with highs in the 70s before fall returns. Your full forecast coming up.
All right, Rachel, thank you. 911 operations are back up and running across the state after an outage earlier today. You may have received an alert on your phone this afternoon saying services across the state were experiencing some issues and major delays as well to the 911 system. What caused the problem remains unclear tonight, but the Connecticut Department of Emergency Services is calling it an equipment issue involving a commercial carrier. There does not appear to be any deliberate attack in terms of a hacker or anything like that.
And new tonight, a waste management worker is dead after an accident in Berlin. The police say a 66-year-old was hit by a payloader at a recycling facility on Christian Lane. They were taken to the hospital where they were pronounced dead. Their identity has not been released. OSHA is assisting with the investigation.
New tonight, a woman is dead after falling into a well in Waterford. It happened Thursday at a home on Pine Street. Police say the woman was 52 years old. They haven't released her name yet. It's unclear what led up to that fall.
And police in Brantford say they arrested 9 teens while responding to a brawl at a Dunkin'. But they say there might be more arrests coming now. 70 students, many of them high schoolers, gathered yesterday afternoon inside and outside of Dunkin' Donuts while officers tried to break up the crowd. And they say there was a scuffle between 2 teens and an officer. 8 juveniles and 1 18-year-old were arrested.
A man has turned himself in to police on charges related to a deadly crash in Avon earlier this year. 33-year-old Tim Prezier is charged with negligent homicide and the death of Jill Ayers. Prezier is accused of crossing lanes on Waterville Road on February the 20th, hitting Ayers' car. He's being held on a $245,000 bond. And with the general election just 2 weeks away, more than 17 million Americans have already cast their ballots.
Now, early voting is setting records in several states, and Connecticut is no exception. Fox 61 political reporter Emma Wolfhorst is with us now in studio. So, Emma, how many voters turned up to the polls yesterday?
Well, Bridget, more than 56,000 people across the state took advantage of the first day of early voting yesterday. That's about 2.5% of all eligible voters in the state. And as this is Connecticut's first general election with early voting, that's a record.
Early voting is the way to go.
It's an exciting time for people across our state taking advantage of early voting.
I know it's going to be crowded early in the morning, so I just want to get my vote in so I can make my voice count.
Some towns saw hours-long lines Monday as more than 56,000 residents turned up to vote. That's more than 3 times the total number of voters in the state's August primary. Now, Connecticut does have a large independent and unaffiliated voting bloc who couldn't vote in the primary, and turnout is always higher in presidential elections, but officials say this shows voters' enthusiasm for not just the general election, but early voting.
Early voting is all about having your say at the polls on your day.
The lines be real long, so if it's early voting, it's no excuses.
Crowds died down in many cities Tuesday, but some election officials in small towns like Darien say they still saw high turnout. In the first 2 days, Darien saw around 800 people, more than 5% of the town's registered voters. Every town has at least one early voting location, but it isn't at your typical polling place, so check your town or the state's website to find your location. Another thing to check, your voter registration status. If you need to re-register or sign up for the first time, you can do so in person at your polling location. Voters have the next 12 days to vote in person, including 2 full weekends.
This is a real important voting time. So early voting, no long lines, no excuses. People can do it on their lunch breaks. You got till Sunday, November the 3rd. So no complaining. Let's get this done.
Now, another reminder here, as opposed to regular voting on election day, you won't be running your ballot through the tabulator machine right after you fill it out. You'll instead put your completed ballot inside a sealed envelope. That's because none of these early voting votes will be counted until Election Day on November 5th. We have all the rest of your election info, plus what races will be on your ballots, on our website at fox61.com. Bridget, Brent.
All right, Emma, thank you. Well, new tonight, the Time to Own First-Time Homebuyer Assistance Program is reopening thanks to $40 million in new funding. The program provides down payment assistance to low and moderate income first-time buyers here in the state. To date, the program has helped more than 4,800 homebuyers in 149 towns. For more information on how you can apply for the program, head to our website at fox61.com.